Have you ever felt like you were surrounded by a dream team of loyal allies, only to have them vanish the moment a crisis hit? Have you ever wondered why some people are the loudest to cheer during your parade but the first to run when it starts to rain? Most of us love the sunshine. We revel in the warmth of a burning success, where the light of power and profit shines on every corner. But there is a brutal, elemental law of human nature that every leader must learn: fire does not just destroy, fire purifies. It is only when the walls are crumbling and the smoke is thick that you see who was there to help you build, and who was just there for the warmth. Do you have the courage to thank the fire for showing you the rats? In the heart of a global financial hub, Elias Vance sat atop a mountain of his own making. He was the CEO of a tech conglomerate that had seen nothing but green candles for a decade. Elias's boardroom was always full. He was surrounded by vanguards, loyalists, and visionaries, men and women who swore they would follow him into the abyss. They toasted to his genius at every gala and whispered flattery in every hallway. Elias felt invincible, sheltered by a fortress of handshakes and smiles. He believed he had built a temple of loyalty. That was until his house began to burn. The fire didn't start with a bang, but with a crack, a sudden regulatory shift followed by a total collapse in the global supply chain. In a matter of weeks, the blazing success of Vance Industries turned into a towering inferno of debt and scandal. The stock price didn't just fall, it evaporated. The bright lights of the executive suites were replaced by the flickering red of emergency signs. For the first time in his life, Elias Vance wasn't looking at a spreadsheet of growth, he was looking at a pile of ash. This is when the phenomenon of rats leaving a burning ship began to play out in its most ruthless form. The first rats to leave were the senior executives, the ones who had been the most vocal about their unwavering commitment. Before the first fire truck could even arrive, they had already resigned, clutching their bonuses and fleeing to competitors. They didn't just leave, they took trade secrets with them, hoping to trade pieces of the burning house for a seat in a new one. Next came the allies. The banks that had begged to lend Elias money now refused to take his calls. The friends, who had shared his private jet, now claimed they hardly knew the man. The hallways that were once crowded with sycophants became eerily silent, save for the sound of feet scurrying toward the exits. Elias stood in his soot-covered office, watching the exodus. He felt a profound, stabbing pain, not from the loss of money, but from the sudden clarity. He realized that the people he trusted most weren't his pillars, they were just inhabitants of his success. They were there for the crumbs, and now that the pantry was on fire, they had no reason to stay. However, amidst the chaos and the desertion, a miracle happened. A few people remained. His quiet head of operations, a man Elias had often overlooked, stayed until 3 a.m. to reroute the entire logistics network. A junior developer, someone Elias didn't even know by name, stayed to patch security leaks because this company gave me my first break. These weren't the people who had given the loudest toasts at the galas. These were the ones who saw the fire and, instead of running, grabbed a bucket. This is the psychological reality of, when the house burns down, the rats come out. In prosperity, everyone looks like a hero. In the sunshine, every shadow looks tall. But peace is a poor judge of character. You can spend years vetting your inner circle, but you will never truly know them until the temperature rises to 1,000 degrees. In business, a crisis is the only true audit of company culture. In friendship, a personal tragedy is the only true filter for loyalty. In leadership, a failure is the only way to distinguish between a follower and a partner. The fire is not your enemy, it is your greatest consultant. It performs a stress test that no interview or personality quiz can simulate. It strips away the pretense, the fluff, and the false promises. When the house burns, the rats don't just leave, they reveal themselves. And that revelation is the most valuable asset you will ever own. It tells you exactly where you stand and who is actually standing with you. Elias Vance lost his empire that year, but he gained something far more powerful, a rat-free foundation. When he started his next venture, he didn't hire the charismatics or the flatterers. He built his new house with the people who stayed in the fire. He understood that a small team of loyalists is worth more than an army of opportunists. He no longer feared the crisis, he respected it as the ultimate truth-teller. The difference between a fragile leader and a resilient one is how they view the rats. A fragile leader mourns the desertion, a resilient leader celebrates the clarity. Do not waste your tears on the people who leave when things get ugly. They were never yours to begin with. They were just renting space in your success. Real power is knowing that even if your house burns to the ground, you know exactly who will be standing there in the soot with you, ready to rebuild. That knowledge is the only true security in an unpredictable world. So, I ask you, who are the rats in your life right now, hiding behind the curtains of your success? If your house caught fire today, who would stay to fight the flames, and who would be the first to scurry for the door? Do not fear the fire. Welcome it. Let it burn away the fake, the weak, and the treacherous. Because once the smoke clears, the only things left standing will be the truth, and the people who are actually worth your time. Thank the storms, for they are the only reason you know who is truly holding the wheel with you.